Hi, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about how to price a for sale by owner. This is such a common question because a lot of agents say to me, how do you net a for sale by owner more money? Because that's what my script is all about. If I can show you a way where you would net more money by having me handle the sale than if you were to sell it yourself, would you consider? How do you do that when they're overpriced to begin with? And this is a super important question, and I'm going to clear this up for you today. I want to start by having you think about this. Yes, for sale by owners are overpriced. Most of them, probably 99% of them, are overpriced. So are expired listings. That's why a listing would expire. The only reason why they would expire is because they're overpriced. And so are most homeowners who want to sell their house. They want to usually overprice the property. I want you to think about it this way. Every homeowner wants more money for their house than the house is worth. And I say every homeowner, meaning the vast majority of them. This is not a unique issue, let's call it, for sale by owners. It's not. For sale by owners, the conversation is a little bit different because yes, you want to show them why they should pay you money to have you handle the sale of their home, why they should pay you money to list their house. But in essence, being able to have a powerful pricing conversation with anyone that wants to sell their house, that's a critical, important part of what you do to be a great listing agent. So back to every homeowner wants to overprice their property. They want more money for their house than the house is worth. Think about it this way. Right now, we're in 2021. It happens to be a hot market in most parts of this country for the last year or even a little bit longer than a year. In a hot seller's market, homeowners want tomorrow's prices. They're anticipating that prices are going to continue to go up, and they're not satisfied with the fact that prices are right now at almost an all-time high. No, that's not enough. I want tomorrow's prices because it's going to continue to go up. In a buyer's market, when prices tend to be lower than previously in the seller's market because real estate is cyclical, sellers want yesterday's prices. So in a hot market, they want tomorrow's prices. In a seller market, they want yesterday's prices. They're never really satisfied with current market price. So what does this mean? Well, there are a few conversations here. I do want to focus on how to price FSBOs, but I think it's really important before we get into the actual pricing FSBO conversation, which I will. I want to help you understand I don't know if I want to use the word psychology, the mindset of a homeowner in regards to price. So let's say you're doing a market analysis for a listing appointment you set, and you pre-qualify this appointment. And one of the pre-qualifying questions you ask the sellers, so when I see you, how much do you want to list the home for? And they tell you 500,000. And now you're doing the market analysis, and the market analysis shows that top market price is 450. So they're 50,000 overpriced, 10% overpriced, which is a lot. So who is right about the price? This is a really important conversation. If this homeowner wants to sell their house, they're going to need to price it close to the 450 that the CMA is pointing to. And it's not just the CMA that's going to dictate what a home is worth. It's also the current market conditions. And you got to take into consideration the market conditions also as an agent, because As an example, if in your market prices for the last 12 months have been going up at a rate of 1% per month, and currently there's nothing to indicate that that's has changed or it's changing in the near future. We don't have a crystal ball, but it's been steady at 1% per month appreciation, increase in prices. So could you, in that situation, consider pricing it a little bit higher than what your CMA is pointing to in the anticipation that that trend is going to continue? You can. You've got to be really cautious. You don't want to lose listings. And I've had clients say that, wow, I turned down this listing. I didn't take it at 20,000 more than the CMA was pointing to. The seller ended up listing with somebody else and it sold for 20, 30,000 higher than I thought it would sell for, higher than what my CMA was showing. So I could have taken that listing and sold it. So this is why I'm having this conversation with you about understanding the market conditions so you can make good choices. Now, there's also something else really important, which is you never own the price. Ooh, you want to drill that thought into your mind. And owning the price is saying things to a seller, as an example, like this: Mr. Seller, I am confident that we can sell it for this price. You are now owning the price. You never want to do that, or anything even similar to that. Why is that? Because you, as a real estate agent, have absolutely no control over how much this home is going to sell for. Can you, as a great negotiator, as an experienced agent, are you able to negotiate the best price, the highest price, the best terms? Absolutely. But can you control what other sellers are asking for their homes? Can you control what their neighbors sell their homes for, which affects the value of their home? No, you have no control over that. You can put a property on the market today at 450,000 and it's the best priced home in the area, and then tomorrow morning someone in the area decides to list a very similar home for 420,000, and overnight your listing for 450 is now overpriced, and you have no control over that. So I want you to understand the danger of owning the price, of saying things like you're confident that's going to sell at a certain price. Okay, price is a moment in time. That's a great script for you right there. So let's get back to the mindset of the seller in regards to the price. This seller that wants 500 for the house and your CMA is showing for 50, what are they basing their opinion of 500 on? Several things. They might have done some research online, and different websites might have given them an estimated value of their home of 500,000. So they're like, yeah, that sounds good. What else do they base their opinion of the price on? How much they pay, how much they put into it, how much they need to actually make the move and buy the next home. Or maybe something a neighbor said. Well, values in the neighborhood are this and that, because people tend to do that. They think, oh my gosh, they don't know exactly what's going on. They just think that it's worth a certain amount of money. So they might have talked to some neighbors that put their price into their minds. So what I want you to think about is, earlier I said, who's right about the price? Well, if they want to sell it, you're right as a real estate agent, but you cannot go into a listing appointment or have a pricing conversation with a homeowner thinking that they're wrong about the price that they have in mind, because they're actually right to think that it's worth 500,000 and they want to list it for 500. Why? Because of what they're looking at in order to come up with this 500,000 they want. If they think about what they pay, how much they put in it, how much they need, how much they want, whatever estimates they got online and what the neighbor said, hey, if you look at all of that and you use that as evidence to determine the price, well, then 500,000 makes sense. So they're not wrong about thinking 500,000. This is such an important mindset to have, because when we think we're right and the other person is wrong, that creates a lot of it creates an argument actually. And when you're in that kind of mode of conversation which turns into an argument, it's not likely that you're going to win. It's likely that they're going to win. So you understanding where they're coming from, the perspective of where they're basing the price on, is really, really important. Now, you as the agent, what are you basing your opinion of the price of the 450 on? The market analysis, which is the current active listings in the area, what other homeowners with similar properties have their houses listed for, and what the recent sales are in the area in the last 6 months. One, have similar properties in your area sold for. That's your market analysis. Also, the market conditions. I was talking about that earlier. Supply and demand, the total number of homes for sale, the absorption rate, how much of what's available is selling each month. You could also, and it's part of market conditions, the number of expired listings. How many homes are expiring without selling? It could be localized to the area where you're doing the market analysis, or it could even be your entire market. And the market conditions, you really got to know your market stats. This is important. An expert, a real estate agent who's a knowledgeable professional expert, they know what's going on with supply, demand, inventory, absorption rates, expireds, all that kind of stuff. So now you're right about the price because you're basing your opinion of the price in something totally different than what the seller is basing their opinion. And your job on a listing appointment is to help the seller understand what you're basing your opinion of the price on and how that is important, because that's what buyers are going to be basing their opinion of what they should pay for the home. They're going to look at the same set of evidence that you're looking at. And buyers, they're also, they have their side of the story, right? Like the seller is basing on what they need, what they want, what they paid, what they put into, and the seller's thinking, well, I'm pre-approved for a mortgage of this amount. I only have this amount to put down. I need to do some remodel when I move in, and I only have this much cash. The buyer is in that situation. But ultimately, buyers are going to compare this subject home to other homes that are listed for sale. They're going to look at, because their agents obviously will show them that, what has recently sold. And they're going to think, well, this home is similar, this is similar, and this is what they sold for. So this is what this property is worth, and base their offer on that. So your job on a listing appointment is to help the seller understand the price and why it's critical for them. See, you have an opinion of price based on certain things you're looking at. You got to show the seller these things you're looking at and help them understand the importance and the relevance of that, so they can price their property correctly and get it sold. Now, having said all that, because I feel like this has been some basic thoughts on pricing, because if I just start talking to you about the FSBO conversation without giving you this foundation, I think you'd have been a little bit lost. So now let's go to for sale by owners being overpriced, and we know most sellers are overpriced, and how do you get an overpriced FSBO to pay your commission when they're thinking, well, I mean, if it's let's continue with the example of they're asking 500,000 and top market price is 450, so they don't want to pay a commission and they're asking 500. If I show up and I tell them, well, it's worth 450, they're like, well, at 450, forget it. I mean, and then I got to pay your commission. Out of the question. So here's how this works with a for sale by owner. FSBOs, they don't want to pay a real estate commission because they feel or they think that they can sell the house for the same price that you can sell it for as an agent. And if they sell it for the same price that you can sell it for, and they don't pay your commission, that your commission is extra money they get to keep. And they feel entitled to keep that money, and they are entitled to keep their money. It's their home, it's their equity. They should keep every penny out of this house that they possibly can. But the bottom line is, they don't think that real estate agents do anything that is worth the commission they charge, the money they they have to pay an agent. They're like, I don't see what you do. I don't see any reason to pay you this money because I can do it without you and keep the money that I otherwise would have paid you. Now, please have this ingrained in your mind. For sale by owners will list their house with the first agent who can show them that paying their commission will be worthwhile. It will make sense financially. See, the agent that can show them, here's why paying my commission will make sense for you financially. It is going to end up netting you more money. The first agent who can do that will take that listing. Sometimes for sale by owners list with an agent that didn't even have to show them that. The agent, so how did they choose the agent in that case? Well, they just they stay as a for sale by owner for 2 or 3 weeks, which is really the average amount of time that a FSBO takes to list their home. And in those 2 to 3 weeks, they start to realize on their own, even though no agent has showed them why paying their commission is going to make sense financially, but the FSBO start to realize, this is not all that easy. This is not all that I thought it would be. This is not happening the way that I expected. And I think I need a real estate agent. And then, whoever's in front of them at the time, they list with. You don't want to you could take FSBO listings like that. My first year in real estate, that's exactly what I did. I listed a bunch of FSBOs because I had no idea what I was doing. So it was just a matter of I was there when they got sick and tired of what they're doing and they realized it wasn't working. And they're like, okay, well, you're here, so list our house. That's how I listed my first several FSBOs my first year in real estate. So could you do that? Sure. The problem with that is it's unpredictable. You know that for sale by owners are getting a lot of calls from real estate agents. 99% of the agents that are calling don't know how to show the value for the commission they charge. They don't know this. They're calling, they're asking to preview the home. They're doing what I did my first year. I wasn't necessarily like previewing. I would ask for, can I come meet with you and show you what I do? But I had no idea. Like what I did was not like the this is why you should pay me and this is why paying me will benefit you. No, it was just like a standard listing presentation that made no sense, that put the seller to sleep for 2 hours. I'm falling asleep. It was the most horrible thing. So they didn't see a reason to list with me because we started talking about how do I get this for sale by owner who's overpriced to understand, and now they need to pay me my commission. Well, with this type of presentation that I was doing my first year, they didn't. So I would leave and I'd follow up. That's something I did really well. I was calling these for sale by owners 2 or 3 times a week. And, sometimes it would take 3 weeks. Sometimes it would take a month and a half, 2 months, 3 months, whatever, when they got tired of what they're doing, they're like, hey, you're still calling us, because every other agent, we had 50 agents call the first week, but now after a few weeks, you're the only one calling. So you're in front of us right now. Go ahead and list the house. That's how I listed my several first FSBOs my first year. So hit or miss, unpredictable, and you're out of control because you're not providing, you're not having a conversation that makes sense, that the seller would say, wow, yeah, I see. I see that there are lots of videos that I've done, and a lot of training that I've done and that I do on a regular basis with my clients around this conversation of why should an agent pay or why should a FSBO pay an agent their real estate commission? So, and I don't want to get into that conversation on a deep level here now, but I need to say this so that you understand where I'm coming from. FSBOs have problems. Those problems cost them money, and you can solve those problems for them. And by solving these problems that cost them money is how you're able to net them more money. That is the conversation that needs to happen before you ever discuss price with a for sale by owner. You don't discuss price over the phone. You don't discuss price when you're pre-qualifying, and you do not discuss price on a listing appointment with a for sale by owner until you've gone through this, let's call it a problem conversation. You don't call it that. You don't say it like that. Well, Mr. FSBO, you have a lot of problems. No, this is you understanding that they have several problems, and you need to get these for sale by owners to a point where they get it, that on their own they will not be able to sell it for even 450. The average for sale by owner in 2020 in the United States, according to NAR, average FSBO sold for 24% less than the agent assisted sales. There are a lot of reasons for that. So if we go with the average, 450 minus 25% is what they're likely to end up selling it for. It doesn't matter the market is hot. It doesn't matter they're getting a lot of activity, because getting a lot of people wanting to see the house is almost irrelevant. Does it mean that these people are ready, willing, and able buyers? No, it doesn't mean that. There's different types of buyers. There are a lot of lookers out there that are not buying right now. You know that. You're a real estate agent. How many of the buyer inquiries that you get, sign calls you get, internet inquiries you get, people that walk into open houses, how many of them, or what percentage of them, I should say, are ready, willing, and able buyers? You know the answer. That's why most real estate agents are really clear on the fact that working with buyers is a little nightmare, because you have to be very, very effective and skilled in separating the lookers from the actual real buyers. Now imagine what a FSBO is dealing with here, okay? I mean, there's so much around this conversation, but the point is, you do not discuss price until they get it. They understand that on their own, I got problems. These problems cost them money. And without you solving these problems for me, I'm not going to be able to sell this home for a top market price. I am likely to sell for way less than the commission that you charge. When you get them to that point, now you can go through the pricing conversation. That's it for this training. I trust that it gave you a lot of great information. And I trust that you'll be able to use all of this, get out there, set a lot of for sale by owner appointments, take those listings and price them right so you can get them sold. The seller will be happy, and your bank account will be happy too.